Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Namaste Wellness Show, where we talk about all things holistic health for the mind, body, and spirit with a touch of cultural soul for people and pets. My name is Laura. I'm your host. Thank you for joining me again. Today I'm welcoming back Pat McKay. She is our animal expert for today, pet expert. Also, she works with humans too, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit. So she has 43 years experience in animal nutrition and 39 years experience in classical homeopathy. And last week, we basically talked about nutrition for dogs and cats, even though she works with other animals as well. So welcome back, Pat McKay. She's on audio today.
Good morning. Great to be back.
Good morning. Thank you for being back.
Well, let me start by just quickly reviewing the basic premise of everything I do, and that's eating properly. If you're feeding your cats and dogs, you want to feed them raw, 90% raw meat, 10% cooked vegetables. And it tells you which ones on my website. And all my ebooks are free. Just go on my website, patmckay.com, and click on free ebooks. And everything I'm talking about is right there. Now, I also do humans, and if so, then you need to know your blood type. With dogs and cats, they have many, many blood types. Dogs have 14, and it doesn't make any difference. All of them require raw meat. In humans, your blood type tells you whether you need to eat meat, if you're a vegetarian, a strict vegan, whatever, is based on one of the 4 blood types. So find out your blood type and start eating according to whether you're an O, A, B, or AB. Okay, that's kind of general information. And let's also mention vaccines. And they're especially important because this country has gone haywire over everybody, people and animals, being driven to do vaccines. I have written a book, Natural Immunity, Why You Should Not Vaccinate. And that's available at the same website as the supplements that I formulated. And those supplements are for people and animals. Let me just say that the 2 supplements are Bio-8 and CLO3. Bio-8 are also water-soluble vitamins that you need, and CLO3 are the oil-soluble. The difference is that your body absorbs the water soluble and uses them immediately when you take them. The oil soluble go to your liver, and your liver decides when you need a shot of A or D. Okay?
Okay.
So that's the basic for those two.
Oh,
What else should we cover right at first, Laura?
well, I wanted to just say a little bit. I wanted to ask you, could you say a little bit more about the Bio 8? You said there are 8 ingredients in the Bio 8 and a little bit
Yes,
about, okay.
and they are all the vital vitamins, minerals, and trace minerals that you need.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so so I just want to clarify. So the Bio 8 is what you add to the raw meat because it is water soluble. But you mentioned last week that the CLO3 supplement is cod liver oil, and you put it in a butter sandwich later in the day because it's oil and you have to eat that separately than from the food that you feed the cat or dog.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's when you're talking about cats and dogs. If you're talking about people, you just take them at a different time of day. Okay.
So these supplements, the Bio 8 and the CLO3 can both be taken by humans as well, correct?
Oh yeah, everything I formulated has been for people and animals. After all, we're all flesh and blood. You know, I mean, we may look different, but but we are actually pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny that we have such problems with race and everything, because I sometimes when I teach my yoga class, I have this skeleton and I teach my laughter yoga class, and I'll say, we all look the same under our skin. So, what's the big problem? I'm like you, I don't know what the big deal is, because we're all the same under our skin. We have the same bone structure and everything. So, but I guess that's for another time. Okay, so when we're talking about vaccinations today, we're only talking about we're going to only be talking about the animal vaccination. So we won't be covering anything about any human vaccinations. I would ask us to focus just on the animal.
I include people vaccinations in that. No, nobody should be taking vaccinations.
Well,
you think you're building up the immunity, but you're not. You're actually damaging your immune system every single time you take a vaccine. There are no exceptions.
Okay.
I mean, that's just the way it is. Look, our bodies, if we leave them alone, have the ability to control 3,500,000 disease possibilities. Wow. Now, anybody that's thinking realizes you can't do that many vaccines in a lifetime, and you don't need to. Okay? Now, I had lots of vaccines as a child, even more when I married a serviceman. Every place we went in the Army and he got vaccines, I had to take them. So if you take care of your health, you can heal that damage that they cause. But I'm telling you, every dog or cat that I help has, and people too, have been vaccinated at some time.
And I think
So
we all
I
have. I know,
blame-
yeah, you're correct. I had all kind of vaccinations growing up too. Yeah. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was trying to interject a little there. Go ahead.
Well, it's just as well you do, because I really get carried away with talking against vaccines. So people
Okay, well,
can just read my book. Okay.
Okay, well, let's focus a little bit on how homeopathy can keep us, help to keep us healthy. We know, so from talking to you, we know that proper diet and eating as close to your natural, what your body needs is going to help our immune system. We know that. And especially cats and dogs, eating raw food. And you have a great explanation on the website. And can you just say your website real quick, just for our listeners again? And we can also scroll it on the screen for viewers.
Oh, great. Okay. So, yes, basically, we are what we eat. That's the most important. But if you have any disease symptoms, then we go to homeopathic care.
Okay.
Homeopathic care is all natural. We don't use any drugs of any kind. So I want you to know how important homeopathic care is, and the difference between going to an MD or a veterinarian and being given a drug. That drug suppresses your systems. Let's say you've got pain in your feet when you walk, or your dog is limping, or whatever. I have to know the symptoms. I don't need a vet's analysis of what it is or an MD's analysis. I just have to know the symptoms. And with those symptoms, it tells me which remedy you need. Now, there are a couple thousand remedies. So this isn't something, I know a lot of people think, well, you can buy homeopathic remedies over the counter, so I must be able to do it myself. No, because I've been studying for 40 years and I'm still learning. It's a very complex medical activity. And so I'm happy to help people. Now, I don't charge anything for nutrition. For homeopathy, yes, I have a fee. And if you're interested in doing homeopathy for yourself or for your dog or cat, then email me and tell me who it's for, because the questionnaire that I'm going to email you is going to be, of course, different if it's for people, if it's for children, if it's for a dog or a cat. every questionnaire, of course, will be different. And
Mhm.
then at the end of it, it'll tell you what the fee is for whoever you're questioning about. And the fees for animals are $250 for the first month of care. Not the first time I answer your question about what your animal needs, but that's for a full month of care. For people, it's $500 for a full month. And the reason it's different is because people are more complicated, because people can tell me what they are feeling internally. You can't tell me what your dog or cat is feeling internally. That I have to know by the symptoms. So anyway, that'll give you an idea. So anytime anyone's interested, send me an email. Tell me if it's for a person, a child. A child is a little different because the parent will be answering the questions, and the dog and cat, of course. People who think dogs and cats are very much alike don't know much about either one. I mean, they are two totally different creatures. And then tell me the name, the name of the dog or cat, or the first name of the person, so that I can start getting the questionnaires organized. And there is no charge for my evaluating that questionnaire. None. The charge doesn't start until you actually decide you want to do homeopathy. And then there's another book on that same website that has the supplements and the natural immunity book. They have one called Homeopathy Beyond Flat Earth Medicine. And that's written by an MD who is also a homeopath. And he puts it in wonderfully simple terms so that you have some understanding of homeopathy. Okay.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about what is homeopathy? How do you make the remedies? You said they're made out of all natural ingredients. And I have another question. What's the difference between classical homeopathy and non-classical homeopathy?
Well, it's classical is what I practice.
And what is that? What is classical homeopathy?
It's using homeopathy exclusively. In other words, you don't take a few drugs or a few over-the-counter medications and homeopathy. You do strictly homeopathy. That's the difference.
So you're saying that if you're taking homeopathic remedies, you're not supposed to take over-the-counter drugs. You're not supposed. What if you're on antibiotics, or what if you want to use herbs? Can you use herbs with homeopathy, or antibiotics with homeopathy?
No, because you won't need them. The whole purpose of doing homeopathy is to allow your system to heal. Here's the difference between drugs or even over-the-counter products. They suppress. They don't cure. You'll never get a cure by taking drugs. In fact, even your own doctor will say, well, you'll probably have to take this drug all your life. Well, that's not a cure. And I had a situation like that with the dog, and the veterinarian said, "Oh yeah, this dog is gonna have to stay on this drug forever." No, when you do homeopathy, the difference is homeopathic remedies stimulate the body to heal itself. That's why I'm 90 years old and have no aches or pains, because for the past 40 years, I've been healing myself by using only homeopathic remedies. I don't even have an aspirin in my house.
Wow.
No. Okay.
So maybe we can talk a little bit. So you on your website, you talk about a homeopathic medicine cabinet, and you have some items that you suggest people to keep on hand for their pets, animals, and or for themselves. Is that correct? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you can go on line and order a homeopathic kit. It's a starter kit, and it's by a company called Helios, Helios. And just put Helios homeopathic kit in your search engine, click, and or put in Amazon.com and then put in Helios kit, and it'll come up. And I think it's $74.95 or something now. Now, the difference is, if you buy homeopathic remedies individually, they're about $10 a piece. Mm-hmm. If you get the kit, then it's about $2 a piece. Mm-hmm. And you have it right there in your home. Now, here's what's happening. FDA, AMA, AVMA, and the drug companies are doing everything they can to get homeopathic remedies off the market, because they want to sell you drugs. That's where the money is. Let me give you an example. A woman came to me who had sore feet. Every step she took hurt. And it was the soles of her feet. Okay. She was paying $800 a month for the drug to give her some relief from this pain, and told she'd have to take it forever. Well, she happened to go to a coffee that I go to every week, and she heard what I had to say, and she came to me and said, "What can I do for my feet?" I gave her one dose of a homeopathic remedy, and she called me later that day and said she was totally free of pain in her feet for the first time in years. Okay. Now, that one remedy cost her $30. Okay. So you see the huge difference between taking a drug that doesn't heal and taking a homeopathic remedy that does heal. And 100 years ago, we had homeopathic hospitals, doctors. It was growing fabulously, but there was no big money in it. And, I'm not a millionaire when I charge $30 for a remedy.
Okay. Well, let me add, can I add something real quick? I'm actually at your website, and I just want to just read a little bit from your website with a little definition. It says homeopathy, from Greek homeo, meaning similar, and pathos, meaning suffering, is a system of medicine based on treating like with like. And the theory that like can be treated with like can be traced back as far as Hippocrates, but it wasn't until the work of Samuel Hahnemann that the theory developed into a usable practice. And I think this gives also an additional definition of classical homeopathy, and it's based solely on Samuel's concepts, often referred to as classical homeopathy, meaning one remedy at a time, treating the whole animal. So in other words, you don't combine the remedies. The classical homeopathy means that you only give one remedy at a time. Is that correct? Because there are some, if you go to a pet store and you see some of the homeopathic remedies, they'll have a combination of remedies in there, right? So,
well, I don't think you're going to find homeopathic remedies in a pet store.
Well,
you might find it in a health food store.
Well, they will call them some of the holistic health pet food stores here in our local area, and I think even around the country, they do have a section of what they're calling homeopathic remedies. But I just wanted to key in on the concept that the classical homeopathy is just using one remedy at a time, because isn't it true that homeopathic remedies can also be dangerous if you take too much, or if, there are some contraindications? Or can you tell us of any contraindications from taking homeopathic remedies and or giving them to your pet?
Well, the thing is, if you don't take the right remedy, it won't work.
Okay.
So
but there are
people will say, oh, well, homeopathy doesn't work. I was told that you could take this remedy for sore feet, and I took it and it didn't help. Well, it wasn't the right remedy for that person.
Okay.
And also,
but there aren't any
combination remedies. In other words, there's a lot of companies that are putting out maybe a half a dozen different homeopathic remedies into one product. And then they're hoping that one of those remedies will work. Well, no, you just confuse the body by giving more than one remedy at a time. You have to use homeopathy properly in order to get the good results.
Okay. So in other words, there are no side effects or anything, is what you're saying, or is that correct? You said that if you take the wrong remedy, it just won't work, but there aren't any side effects of the remedy. Because when you're treating,
there are no side effects, but what there are what I refer to as healing counteractions. Now, this is what I mean. Let's go back to the woman with the pain in her feet. She didn't say this, but it's possible that after she took the remedy, all of a sudden her feet hurt more than they usually do. That tells me that that remedy is the correct remedy, and it gave that jolt of healing counteraction to show that it was going to heal. So the person at first might say, oh my gosh, it got worse. But it only maybe lasts for a minute. and then things start getting better.
Okay.
And now that's not a side effect. That's a healing counter. Oh, here's a perfect example. I had polio when I was a child at 12 years old. I got it from a vaccination, by the way. And I won't go into a lot of detail, but the hospitals were jammed. They were full. And I couldn't get into a hospital. I was in a boarding school. Sister Kenny came and showed the sisters how to take care of me. And her method was just the opposite of hospitals. In hospitals, they put you in a cast. Sister Kenny said, no, keep that muscle moving. So I had polio in the large muscle of my neck.
Wow.
And it was extremely painful. And this was way before we knew anything about homeopathy. And when I was 50 years old now, so I had it when I was 12. When I was 50, took my very first, or I think I was 47, I took my very first homeopathic remedy. And all these years, I had this pain in my neck, in that muscle. Now, I could live with it. It was tolerable, but it was always there. The minute I took my first homeopathic remedy, the pain in my neck came back the same as it had when I was 12 years old. Oh my gosh, it was painful. It lasted for about a minute.
Wow.
And then it started getting better and better and better. And I would say within 10, 15 minutes, that pain was totally gone. And I've never had that pain again.
Wow.
So do you see the absolute wonders of homeopathy? And of course, the minute I went through all that, I said, oh, I'm doing homeopathy.
So that's what got
that's
you.
what I've been doing ever since that day.
Okay. Well, let me just interject a couple of things here. So that's the ideal. It sounds like when you said you took the remedy and it made the symptoms worse, because we're talking about a remedy that is treating like with like. So does that mean that you were given polio to get rid of the polio? I'm trying to just get more clarity on treating like with like.
In other words, there was still some remnants of polio in that muscle. And when I took, because I didn't do homeopathy when I had it, I'm sure I was given drugs and so on. So when I took my, and that's why I had that continual pain. So when I took my first remedy and it went in, and then it finalized the healing of that episode of polio that I had 40 years before. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. I want to ask, I'm going to read another sentence from your website on homeopathic remedies. When giving a homeopathic remedy to your animal, it isn't the number of pellets you give that is important. It is the number of times you give them. So this talks about how to give homeopathic remedies. Can you explain that a little bit more to us?
Okay. Homeopathic remedies come in a small vial, usually of 80 pellets, 80. And you actually only need one of those pellets for a dose. But I tell people to give 3 to their animals, because sure as the world, an animal will spit 1 or 2 out. And you can't repeat it. Once you give a dose, that's it. You have to wait and see how the animal reacts. And so I want you to do it as efficiently as possible. And so if you give you do not touch the pellets. You put them in the cover of the container and then use that cover to put them in your dog or cat's mouth. If you have an animal that you're quite sure you're going to have some problems in spitting it out, my suggestion is that you crush those 3 pellets into a powder, and then take a spoon and put that, so that you don't touch the powder, in your animal's mouth. And they can't spit out the powder because it dissolves too quickly. And there are instructions for crushing the pellets in that article that you're looking at.
Can you add the powder to their food?
No. The powder goes, or the pellets go to work immediately when they get wet from your saliva or from the animal's saliva. They go to work instantly. And if you put it in food, the remedy gets lost in the food. The food covers so that those pellets or that powder never get to your saliva. So you have no idea whether the animal has received it or not. With a person, it's relatively easy because they know not to spit it out.
Right. Can you put it in the water?
No. There are homeopaths that say, yes, you can put it in water. I don't like that. I want to know that it's going to go to work immediately. And you put it in water, and you're not sure whether the water absorbed the remedy and the animal ever got any. No, just give it dry. And all the years I've been doing this, everybody has found a way to give the remedy dry.
Okay. Yeah, because sometimes it can be really hard to get your animal to let you open its mouth. I mean, it's a trick to it, to doing that. So
well, but you really don't have to open their mouth.
Oh.
In other words, if you have an animal that doesn't want to open his mouth, just pull the lip up and put the powder right there inside the lip. Like I say, all that needs to happen is that the remedy gets wet from the animal's saliva.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I just also want to clarify, if you said you recommend giving 3 pellets in case the animal spits 1 or 2 out, they still have the enough of the dosage, but you also say you don't want to give them try to give them 1 of the pellets and then give them another pellet a few minutes later, because now you're talking about 3 doses instead of 1 dose, correct?
Exactly. You've got it right. Exactly.
Okay. And okay, so is there anything else you want to share about homeopathic remedies, or maybe, anything else you can think of you want to share about the benefits, which, you
Well,
said.
I wish people would contact me who are interested in homeopathy so that I can send them a questionnaire. I will evaluate that questionnaire, get back to them, and then keep that questionnaire in my document file. So let's say a month later, the dog has a problem, or the cat has a problem, and then you can email me right away and say, oh, my dog just tripped in a hole, or my cat is urinating outside the box, and that's unusual, or one of them isn't eating, or whatever. Then I already have your questionnaire on file, so I can tell you what homeopathic remedy to give. And then if you have that kit, you'll have it. Right. If you don't, I hope you live close to a health food store that does have remedies. Yeah. But whether it's an emergency or whether it's just something that came up and you're concerned, email me first. Don't run to the vet and spend $200-300 having him tell you that it's whatever, and charging you all that money for nothing. Okay. I'm not going to charge you anything until you give the homeopathic remedy.
Okay, I just want to kind of recover. I'm going to read a little bit more from your website just to clarify even a little bit more. Homeopathic medicine stimulate the body's natural healing abilities as opposed to allopathic drugs that have a chemical effect on the body, which suppress and slow down the body's natural ability to repair, restore, and heal. So when we're taking allopathic drugs, you're saying that it's actually pushing whatever the disease process is, actually pushing it down further into the body and kind of making it even harder to heal it over time, correct? Whereas your homeopathic medicines, even though you might have a reaction to the first dosage, and it may make you feel sicker, but past that feeling of not feeling so well when you first take it, it's actually allowing the body to expel or get rid of the disease process. Am I saying that correctly?
Exactly. You have it exactly right.
Okay. So allopathic drugs can stop the symptoms, but it's not curing the problem. It's just kind of pushing it further down. And so you might say, oh, I feel better, but whereas if you take a homeopathic medicine, when you take it, you might not feel that great initially. And someone might say, oh, it's making me sick. But if you can hang in there, it's actually helping the body heal itself. Okay.
And the other problem with drugs is you take one drug if you've got headache. You take another drug if you have a stomach ache. You take another drug if if your knee hurts. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a drug for each part of the body. Well, the body is a whole entity. In other words, when you stub your toe, believe me, your brain reacts. You see what I mean? When you stub your toe, it goes through your entire body. It's because our bodies are one entity. They're not broken up into parts.
Okay.
So in homeopathy, I look at every single symptom and I put it into my computer program, and the typical remedies for each one of those will come up on the screen so that I know which remedy is going to cover every single ache and pain that you have or your animal has.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So I'm not going to give you one remedy for the headache, one remedy for the stomach ache, and another remedy for your knee. No, I'm going to find a remedy that covers all three of those areas.
Okay.
That's another huge difference. And look, if everybody were doing homeopathy, tell me somebody that instead of paying $400 to $1,000 a month for health insurance, that they couldn't afford to buy that kit for $75, and if they needed a different remedy, $10 for. In other words, my point is, people wouldn't even need health insurance. Yes, they'd need it for surgery. Homeopathy doesn't do surgery, but in homeopathy, I can tell you what to take before the surgery, what to take after the surgery, and what to take on the second day after surgery.
Okay.
And I just can't do the surgery.
Gotcha.
So I'll grant you, we need MDs and vets to do surgery. But more often than not, if I know about these symptoms ahead of time, sometimes I can even keep them from having to have the surgery.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, let's stop. We're actually almost at time. This went really fast again, Pat, and you got so much valuable information. But everybody, please go to her website, www.patmckay.com. And I'm assuming, just real quick, that homeopathic will also help with emotional conditions as well as physical. Just real quick, Pat, is that true? That might be for a whole nother topic. Depression, anxiety, does homeopathic work?
There's so much more to talk about. You bet.
Okay. Well, we got to get you
all about natural healing.
Okay. Well, we got to have a subject on that too for emotional healing as well. So thank you so much, Pat, for being with us again. And thank everybody for listening and watching. Until next time, be safe, be well. Namaste.